Liquid's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team ban. Liquid's turn to pick.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Summit 6 qualifiers. We got Liquid going up against Friends. Game 2, Liquid did a pretty thorough job at destroying Friends in Game 1, pretty much across the board. Farm-wise, tempo-wise, maybe lane control-wise, not as much, so that was a little bit rough. But still, it's a win for them. So we'll see if Friends can bring it back and force a Game 3, or if Liquid are just going to clean 2-0 them. I'm Mike Loris, going to be joined by MRP Dota for this second game. And man, that last game from Liquid was not exactly perfectly clean, but it's what we would expect from them.
It just shows their versatility as a crew as well. They don't have to play methodical, systematic, and disciplined Dota all the time. They can be a little bit chaotic. You know, the first 5 minutes was the Curl and Mind Control show in that bottom lane. It transitioned later into the Miracle show when he got some farm on his Rubik out of the mid lane, and Matumba Man was able to seal the deal for them. So just really looking good on every front, and showing that they can have versatility in the late phases of the draft, picking that 5th pick Spirit Breaker. So really good showing from Liquid. Interesting choice in this game. Liquid had first pick, and Friends opted to take Dire side and ban the Drow and the Bad, both heroes that you would want to have being on the Dire side. So they give up the OD in the first phase to Liquid, and they pick up both supports that would pair with the OD in the Oracle and Omni Knight.
And I guess it's kind of nice that Liquid don't have access to that combination of Oracle OD or Omni OD, but it's not completely clean here from Friends. They can, and we've seen many teams run Omni Knight just solo in the offlane, a duel in the offlane, and that is a perfectly reasonable way of laning. But if it is going to be a support Omni Knight, a support Oracle, you're going to be working with a lot of healing, but not really much of else. Very little damage, very little control, at least as far as what some other support heroes can offer you. So we'll see if Friends can make these lanes work with the Omni Knight towards the offlane, which I think is probably the most likely way that that's going to work out. Liquid banning out the Pugna. Yeah. I think they also have to ban out the Huskar now, right? Like, you can't afford to take that risk.
So Curl's certainly done his homework, or at least watched the last series of Friends, where they've been playing a lot of Coddle, and they played Pugna as a direct counter to the OD. Of course, OD, all his spells use quite a bit of mana, and he relies on Essence Aura to keep his mana pool high, but that Nether Ward does a lot of work against him. Really like the second Void from Liquid. It's a flex pick. They can put him in the offlane or the safe lane. It's also a Diffusal Blade builder, and combos up nicely with the Omni Knight. So pretty standard stuff from Liquid here, and as you mentioned, they're going to ban both the Pugna and the Huskar, so definitely covering all their bases. Curl drafting masterfully thus far in the series.
It's kind of a forced ban. Like, if you don't ban the Huskar, you just lose to the Huskar, and that's generally not a good plan. So they have to do that. And I guess that's kind of the power of picking up both Oracle and Omni Knight out of your first 2 picks, is that you maybe don't force a Pugna ban necessarily, but you force a Huskar ban. And in this case, it seemed like both of these bans were in fact forced. So if it wanted to actually protect a strategy of their own, they can't do that. They just don't have enough bans to protect their own heroes at the same time and prevent whatever Friends want to do from actually coming about. And then we have a Centaur War Runner. Not many teams are heavily picking this hero up. 3rd pick, nonetheless. So between the tankiness of the Centaur, got a lot of extra sustain behind him. Would be a pretty difficult hero to kill, but I don't think I've actually seen Friends run the Centaur.
It combos decently with the Omni Knight. You can kind of stampede in before you get your Before you get your Blade Mail, you can also Stampede in, throw the Fortune's End preemptively on the Centaur War Runner and gets you a little bit of extra lockdown. So it's an interesting pick. I don't know where it fits in this early with Friends lineup. We'll see how it ends up. I mean, I wouldn't count Stampede a counter to Chronosphere, although, you know, Time Walk is not what it used to be in terms of initiation range, so may force the Void into a Blink Dagger build at some point. But now that they have, you know, the setup from the Imprison as well as potentially from Mind Control's Sand King in the off lane, they're going to have more than enough presumably to set up for this Chronosphere, which likely will be in the hands of Matumba Man. But Liquid still fairly flexible in their draft. They can always put the Sand King in the 4 role when it comes down to it. But Friends, they're going to opt for the Sniper, so have a lot of defensive capability behind him, have some mobility or some positioning available to them with the Stampede, and they feel like he's good enough counter to OD, which Solo kind of coined from VP in the mid lane, that perhaps they don't have to give him too much attention there early on, and they have enough to keep him up later into the game.
Yeah, I'm liking the Sniper just because of that fact, just because, you know, he has a couple of defensive heroes behind him. He's going to be going up against OD in lane, and that in of itself, I think picking up the Sniper is well worth it. I'm not really sure if this is necessarily making the Centaur War Runner pick any better. Like, Stampede Sniper is, I guess, kind of nice. Having a very disruptive blinking hero for Sniper is kind of nice, but at that point, it's like you have your selection of Sand King, Centaur, Slardar, and some generally more powerful heroes that do very similar effects. In order for Centaur to get some serious value, I think it's mostly looking towards this lane where, is it possible to see a Centaur Omni Knight dual lane, like a really bully set of bullies where they can just double edge, purify, look for those kills, and keep these melee heroes from Liquid out of arm's length? It seems like that's the most likely way we see Centaur gaining some serious value, at least in this early game, as Liquid pick up the Ogre Magi as well. Bloodlust on Faceless Void and OD is ridiculously strong, pressuring the Sniper as a support as Ogre Magi ridiculously strong as well, but these are not heroes you really want to have playing against Centaur War Runner in lane. That's really, really hard to do.
Return is definitely a spell, but I expect the Ogre's time to be spent mostly towards the mid lane, kind of touched upon there a moment ago, to even up this matchup, or the small advantage that the Sniper has in the sense that he's able to keep himself at a fair distance away from the OD, not allow him to use the Imprison to dominate the lane and gain good CS. So we'll see what the actual designated lane support is from Liquid, or whether or not they end up picking a Mind Control hero here and putting the Sand King in that role. If they do end up picking a Mind Control hero, that means that the mid lane will probably be a true 1v1 for the most part, considering that, you know, Sand King is not the best zoning support, where Ogre fits that bill a lot better. But Rubik Band is going to be the one that comes out from Friends.
Shadow Demon still in the pool, curiously enough. It's okay for Liquid. It's probably not quite as good for Friends, although no, it's probably not good for Friends at all. But, you know, it is kind of weird to see this hero just being completely ignored. For Liquid to get a little bit of extra initiation definitely won't be a bad thing up against Sniper, but, you know, illusion combos, it's mostly just like range I want to see from Liquid's last pick, just some way of controlling the Centaur and the Omni early on, because if you let them really bully you back and get onto their own creep wave and last hit, then it's really hard to get them off with a Sand King and an Ogre Magi. I mean, the Caustic Finale is definitely going to do quite a bit, but it can be easily returned by Stomp into Double Edge into Purify, which will do a lot more damage in a burst.
Yeah, Demonic Purge really nice up against the Omni Knight, and little caveat, the return from the illusions from the Centaur is always nice to help farm and push towers as well, so definite consideration from Liquid. See what route they end up opting for, though.
I don't think that return damage is reduced either by any illusion shenanigans, just like pure and simple. Whatever number of strength the illusions have at the time is what's going to be returned. I might be wrong about that, but it still works pretty darn well. So it's going to be Rubik Band out. Team Liquid take a long time to decide on a Darkseer ban out, then Io last pick. How often do you see Io in that box, for one thing? Friends don't really have great answers to the IO. Like, Oracle and Centaur are okay, but nothing really proactive to answer the IO's relocate.
Love the IO, not only for the relocate, but just to buff up the OD in general. I can give him that extra move speed on all other heroes to get into close quarters with the Sniper. So really like this pick from Team Liquid. Also, you know, gives them defensive capability as well. If you stampede or blink in on a target, Io can be behind to kind of relocate save. So really like this 5th pick from Kuroki and how he's been drafting overall today. We'll see where Friends go. Looking for a safe laner here, more than likely. So something with some burst potential could be nice up against the Io. Maybe they look at something like a Juggernaut here. They definitely do want something that can fight early, as Sniper is a mid laner who takes a little bit more time to come online, so to speak. So you want someone to kind of fill those shoes, whereas you're essentially swapping your 1 and 2 roles, putting the 1 in mid and the 2 over in the safe lane. We'll see where Friends go with it.
Liquid are pretty magic damage based, at least in order to get kills. You're reliant on the Ogre Magi stuns, the Sand King stuns, the OG Imprison. Having a spin in order to kind of nullify most of that is certainly going to be useful, or you're going to try to punish the melee heroes by going for an Ursa. That's certainly a powerful hero that can get the Sniper quite a bit of space. Together with the Centaur War Runner, the initiation and the burst afterwards is a lot. Like, it's an Ursa that's good against Faceless Void. That's always going to be the case. Good against Ogre Magi, but Friends can get in and get out of these fights even before there's an IO reaction with Relocate.
Yeah, definitely so, and it fits the bill. I mean, I was talking about physical burst, and Ursa certainly fits that bill. So, before a Ghost Scepter comes out, can be a pretty darn good solution. Enrage is a great ability in the sense that it doesn't really care all that much about intelligence being stolen because it has no mana cost, so still can at least provide him with the damage reduction if need be, or whenever that it's necessitated. But I still do favor Liquid's draft overall. I think Kuroki has a really good recognition of what's strong and what isn't right now in the game from what I've seen in the last few days of this new lineup and their drafts.
Kind of want to see a Pugna though. I don't think he's a good hero.
I mean,
but I want to see
force...
Friends put Pugna in a situation where we can see how powerful he can be.
I feel like anytime you force Omni Oracle openings from teams, you're in the driver's seat in the draft at least. Some Deep Vision going to be planted down. Pretty typical movement here from Liquid over into the Dire jungle. Already the Dire have pseudo lane ward down for themselves as well. Not one that's going to block the side camp, so shouldn't be dewarded anytime soon. Tether move speed. Actually, Tether was broken, so they couldn't get MC close enough in to try and attempt this first blood.
Doesn't have boots or anything like that.
Thought about walking down the hill, but yeah, I better go off to the west with my...
Mind Control is just threatening the Burrow Strike right now. They're going to be fighting into Shrapnel, and the Fortune does catch Mind Control and Kuroki, both Burrow Strike. Not going to be used just yet. He could have caught 3, but instead he got no one, and he's going to go down. Kuroki also taking an absolute beating right now. We'll try to tether out, but the right click will follow him, and we'll take him down as well. 2 kills for Friends, including the first blood. Oracle grabs 1. Ursa got the first blood, though. That's about as good as it gets. Liquid trying really hard to contest that rune, and I don't expect Friends to get in there so quickly, but Shrapnel early on, only level 1, it still does quite a lot as far as control and slow is concerned, especially in such close quarters.
That's fine. 2 heroes for Miracle's bounty rune. Seems good. But either way, he is going to get up the hill, be able to imprison Sniper, and get himself a little bit of a CS advantage. We do see the Omni Knight for No Fear hanging around mid lane, and that's probably because similarly to us, they expect either the IO or the Ogre to be around in this lane. Matuma Man gets a lucky bash onto Afterlife. Afterlife, because of that skirmish in the mid lane, and they saw him stomp, they know he does not have return. So Matuma Man taking advantage of this opportunity while he doesn't have return to trade with him.
Yeah, we're trying to go for the Ursa up towards top lane. Ogre, Io, Sand King, offensive tri-lane. Ursa is not an easy hero to kill. He's got the windlaces and the Poor Man's Shield based off of that first blood and the assist afterwards. So he's just going to be even stronger than he otherwise would be. And this combo of heroes is running into 2 defensive support heroes. I don't think this is actually a workable lane here for Liquid. They're just working off of like Ignite and Burrow Strike to control and then right clicks afterwards. And the right clicks afterwards up against Poor Man's Shield don't do anything. Up against Purified does very little. So I'm not really seeing the benefit of putting a full commit of 3 heroes up towards his top lane. The bottom lane, Matuma Man should be just fine without the extra support heroes, but it does seem like these heroes can't really do what they really want to do at their peak. Like even helping out Miracle, hanging around with an Ogre Magi could be extremely useful, but instead they're kind of just getting bullied.
Yeah, it feels like there is some kill potential on the Centaur, and in this lane it's just going to be a lot of trading, but if they can stop Yoku from farming, that could be a win for them overall. Mind Control taking a lot of damage, has the Sandstorm, does have a Burrow as well. Fairy Fire just for good measure. We'll be able to back out, and in towards the mid lane comes a Wrapping Bulba with Ignite and an Arcane Rune. Undershock pretty far up the hill. Now Courier is there as well, but the low ground looks like Bulba did not see it, and now we'll have to back off under the safety of his own tower.
Miracle is just being pushed back way too far. The range on Sniper, not really oppressive just yet, but just leveling up the shrapnel. Prioritize the headshot as much as possible. Pretty standard Sniper stuff. And now finally they're going to add the Ogre Magi at least a little bit into their lane, but only with Ignite. Can't really do a hell of a lot. They're going to go for KuroKy over towards top lane. Huge combo from Yoku, and it'll shred the IO. Nice armor on the IO. Zero is going to do nothing up against the Ursa. Pure physical, or almost purely physical there. Really no chance for the little ball of light, and this investment into the top lane is very quickly starting to come apart. Again, at least for Liquid, they're not really suffering in the other lanes, so that's kind of nice. But Mind Control again has to deal with the bear. Here comes Bulba, is going to Ignite Yoku, but there's just no damage going on to the Ursa. Ignite is an okay damage tool, but not when it's level 1. Just doesn't do enough. So Liquid are trying really hard to make sure that Mind Control gets a good lane, but it's not working. KuroKy's taking a lot of shots.
Yeah, he might have been. Oh, he did it on purpose to heal up in control. So next level. But yeah, it's a lot of commitment here early on. It doesn't feel like they're losing out heavily in the other lanes, although perhaps Afterlife will have, you know, some levels and item before they would like him to. I don't think this is a disaster by any means for Liquid, although certainly maybe they get something a little bit more significant out of the other lanes with their support presence there. But Yoku is out of mana now, so his aggression is going to be capped off a little bit until he can get some more. He does get clarity'd up, and yeah, I mean, these are things you can expect as Liquid. Is Miracle to win his lane by himself, and he will be able to take down Undershock for his first kill of the game. Bottle Crowing going to continue to stay up in lane. Really nicely played overall by Miracle, and that's kind of going to salvage some of this early game for Liquid. Now they're going to go in for Always Want to Fly. They need to be careful though. Purification is just going to finish off the IO, and there's the Purifying Flames as well. And we talk about this duo as a support, defensive natured support duo, but they have a lot of nuke power between the Omni Knight and the Oracle, and with the illusion body blocks, the Purifying Flames will net Always Want to Fly a double kill here, bringing down Bulba. But mid lane, they go in with the IO, KuroKy off death, aside Miracle. They do not have the Sanity's Eclipse, but with the Tether Slow and all the move speed, a little bit of body blocking, one more right click, Undershock, going to be dropped for the second time in about as many minutes as KuroKy joins up with his mid laner.
I do think we're getting to a point where we can start classifying this top lane as a disaster zone for Liquid. Like Ursa now with this advantage is not really going to have much to fear from the Sand King. The supports from Liquid are going to disperse and leave the Sand King to his own devices. He's gone for 2 points in Sandstorm, which is already not what you want to do, although I guess it helps him to jungle farm somewhat, kind of old school Sand King style. It's going to be a very slow Sand King game from Mind Control from here on out, and we'll see if Kuro and Bulba can actually make anything happen elsewhere and redeem their kind of slow early start. They do have a Chronosphere to work with between Bloodlust and the Overcharge. Maybe roll lucky with some time locks. Here it comes onto Afterlife. He's going to get bubbled. Ignite is there as well. KuroKy's Orb's not quite going to land. Now Stampede out. Damage was pretty high, but not quite high enough. KuroKy is going to get jumped on. Purifying Flames not in range. Matoman's going to slow him down. Bash gets a couple of bashes, in fact. Time walk the damage off from Purify, but Chronosphere down, trying to go for a Centaur kill is always extremely tough, especially when you don't have that much burst in your heroes.
Yeah, that first bash effectively saving Kuro's life there. Always Want to Fly should have been able to nuke him down. We'll be able to deny up the bounty rune away from KuroKy's IO, which is always going to be nice. A regeneration rune picked up by Miracle, however, in the top lane, and now he's going to go hunting on his OD.
Level 2 Orb, level 2 Imprison, doing quite a heavy amount of damage for this OD build. Usually just the control build with Astral Imprisonment, get the Aura just to ensure that you're not going to be forced out of lane anytime soon, but double Orb, he is doing a lot of extra DPS, especially when the IO does come in. We already saw it once as far as killing off the Sniper is concerned, but Sniper is still getting a lot of CS. He's back getting more CS in the OD. Getting denied perhaps a little bit as well, but that's fine because this guy just wants a safe time to farm. They're also getting a pretty safe time for Yoku to farm on the Ursa, so the Friends are getting a lot of income CS-wise with their heroes. Matoman, though, is on top of the net worth chart with Miracle not too far behind, and Mind Control, KuroKy, again, going to team up, looking for Always Want to Fly. Don't think they're quite fast enough to catch up to
Mhm.
Oracle, though.
It's a difficult kill regardless, and Mind Control certainly puts himself in harm's way. With Yoku having the phase boots now, he can easily chase down any of these heroes in this lane, perhaps even with tethered move speed. Mind Control going to go in for the burrow, needs to be careful here. Going to get purified up, will go into the Sandstorm, and is able to dodge the Fortune's End damage because of it. No Fear has joined them up in the lane though, so he'll catch a Purify. Enrage is there for the Ursa as well, so unlikely that they're able to surprise him with a kill here. Mind Control hanging around, and they're looking for the Wisp as well from the south. So could be in trouble. They'll sentry him up, and he is down. Can only sit in the storm for so long before getting dropped. And that's a bit of a costly kill, considering it goes the way of Yoku on the Ursa. Meanwhile, mid lane, Stampede in towards Miracle. Miracle trying to juke out the Tar, but unable to do so, and he will drop as well. 8-2, 8 minutes in, 4 friends, a kill a minute, and by them in this early game. Matuma Man comes towards the mid lane, but he's a little bit late in this manner, and always want to fly out behind Undershock is going to mean that that Chronosphere is going to be very likely to fail one if he drops it.
There is a Sand King behind him, so Chronosphere into prep Epicenter, Burrow Strike into the Chrono. Definitely a good way of getting those burst kills on friends, and will force the Oracle or Omni to be there, or they will lose a hero immediately afterwards. No angle for that, unfortunately. Mind Control is going to make his way all the way up back towards his top lane. Losing the OD is incredibly costly. Again, the Faceless Void is still farming pretty well. Losing your Sand King a couple more times, it almost seems like that's inevitable, but you need to keep Miracle farming. You need to have him at least on the lane to get experience consistently in order to shore up his skill build and make sure that he has all of his spells maxed out and has enough levels to go for his ultimate afterwards. Mind Control is going to get charged in by Yoku. Repelled Ursa. Yeah, that's the thing of nightmares right there. We don't really have any great answer to it. Kroki and Bulba's game has been drastically slowed down by this early start, and for friends, they just need to keep working on their farm. Just get a little bit of extra gold and experience on the Centaur War Run. Use Stampede whenever you have it available. If friends want to take this slow, want to take this to the late game, that's perfectly reasonable in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely so, and it's a bit concerning as the support levels, but jump in mid lane with Matu, gonna force back Undershock right into the hands of his OD, gets the Chronosphere off on the Omni Knight to ensure that grab the kill, but OD can't really right click into the Omni because of the positioning of the Chrono. They get the Imprison off onto the Oracle, however. Now Afterlife's come in, he may be in a little bit of trouble here. Miracle does not have the Sanity Eclipse, so Afterlife able to stun him up and walk away, but so much move speed from the Tether and the Bloodlust, and Miracle will be able to chase him down, bring him down. Kuroki is gonna die once again, unfortunately, on the IO, and that is a bit of concern as they've spent a lot of time in close quarters top lane, those 3 heroes, the Sand King, Ogre, and IO, and Kuroki currently only sitting on level 5.5 here, 10 minutes into the game, but he'll have his level 6 relatively short and relatively soon, and Omni and Oracle have also spent some time in close quarters, so they're sitting on level 5. Liquid gonna take a nice engagement towards the mid. Matu's second Chrono gonna be a lot more fruitful than his first.
And that Stampede used mostly to get Centaur in, but the Ursa took that opportunity to charge in. Top lane gets a solo kill on the Sand King, so a little bit of extra benefit there from the friend's side, making it so that this mid lane exchange wasn't entirely a disaster. It was still really, really bad, considering how it started and how it ended, but at least they got something elsewhere. They're going to look towards Roshan right now. Ursa has got the Mask of Madness and do this by himself. Do Liquid have any vision of this area? They do with observers. Obviously not going to help them right now as everyone is smoking in. Goku's going to start, and he does very quickly. Liquid don't really have any great ways of interrupting this. Matuma Man does not have a Chronosphere. He's going to find Afterlife, do pretty much no damage to him with no bashes, and friends, they're pretty clearly choreographing this, that Yoku's going for this, but unless Matuma Man has a clutch steal, okay, never mind. It's Roshan dead, and he's going to use the Enrage for it. Life for the Ursa and a truck of experience and gold for the team.
Yeah, mind Control poking away at the tier 1 top, but nothing really lost. And all is said and done for friends, able to pick up that Aegis. Miracle spends a little bit of time getting some farm mid lane. Will essentially finish up his drums here, just needs the recipe to finish those off, which is going to be a nice pickup. But Liquid can start to look to fight. They've got the relocate available. So as long as they get down good vision, Mind Control can definitely set up some kills. Top lane, he will burrow into No Fear. Does he get the last hit on the tower? Radiant will find it. Able to back away, and Yoku showing his face in the top lane. Definitely a great relocate partner in the OD. The Faceless Void, a pretty darn good one as well. So we'll see if they're able to put that to use anytime soon.
Brace for a haste rune. Undershock is going to make sure that no one wins that, but OD was saving a double damage. Sniper in the bubble. We do see Always Want to Fly right around the corner. False Promise is available right now. Undershock taking a lot of damage. The Stampede will disengage. Miracle should be fine. He's got Drum. Assassinate's going to come and do quite a bit of damage. Purifying Flame will just kill. And leave Croaky stranded in the river, so he's going to die also. Oh, that was a timely Purifying Flames there by the Oracle. Timed pretty well with the Assassinate. So there's an instant burst kill on that OD, and the Tether, of course, stops at that point, so IO is stuck. Now the Centaur has his Blink Dagger, so now Friends can actually use this early game advantage to actually get more kills more proactively under the towers. Like on the Ogre Magi right now, is going to be assassinated, surrounded by an Ursa. Yeah, good luck getting out of here. He'll be purified or actually clawed to death by the Ursa, and this tower is also forfeit.
Well, they still have a glyph. I wouldn't stick around too long if I were Friends. There is a Chronosphere available. Mind Control, he's going to hit 2 with the Burrow Strike. Matu, he's TPing in now as well. And they will have the respawn of Miracle soon. Now who is coming in. Matu's going to catch the Chrono onto 3. OD coming in. The Overcharge is going to bring down the Centaur. Yoku's in trouble as well. He's going to probably drop here. Does have the Aegis Recall, but he is going to go down. If he doesn't miss uphill. One last right click will finish him off. No fear. He's out to the east. Yoku does not have a Blink Dagger or anything of the sort, so he will probably die. I definitely think that they overstay their welcome a slight bit. Oh, Assassinate from the west side will be able to finish one off. Yoku actually with the Purify doing a lot of damage, but Miracle with the hammer kills them both. Double kill going the way of the OD, and over to the south, the Ogre of Bulba and Matu's Void finish off the Sniper as well. Friends getting a little bit confident in that mid lane as they bring down the Ogre, but disrespecting the Chronosphere from Matumba, man, and it's going to be a 4,000 experience and gold combined swing, about 2,500 gold and about 2,600 experience going the way of Liquid.
That is certainly a little bit too close for comfort there by Miracle. The Eclipse came in after a lot of insta-steal stuff, and that's all well and good, but very close to losing his life to the Ursa if he wasn't a little bit more careful. He did lose the IO there as well from the Sniper. The end result, though, they take down 6 from Friends if you include the Aegis, and that's even after Friends show up with Dagger, who, by the way, is going to use it again for Face's Void down towards bottom. Mask of Madness, Ursa, Assassinate even being primed there, though not needed. Do get another kill. Faces Void, Chronosphere up in another 30 seconds. 100% needed in order to get these engagements to go in the way of, in the favor of Liquid. Without that Chronosphere, like, you don't get any of those kills to start things out. Liquid just simply don't have the necessary amount of control, since Sand King is still trying desperately to farm towards that Blink Dagger, up towards top lane, 1,700 gold on him. Now hitting level 9, starting to get a little bit more closer to where a Sand King should be at this stage in the game, but still not completely comfortable. It's actually surprising how close he is to farm with the Sniper. He's also had some serious issues add on by this Miracle and Croaky kind of dual lane.
And they are going to effectively kind of bait the Sand King as they bring everyone else in. TP into the tier 3, I should say. From the Oracle and Friends. Going to convene around this top lane. Need to be careful, though, not to do so in small numbers. Afterlife, he's going to be found. Will blink out towards the east. And Liquid going to occupy this top lane. They do not have their Faceless Void with them, though. He's not showing just yet on bottom lane. They've TP'd down the Sand King now in Undershock. He may just be found out here. They know the creeps are attacking something. Chronosphere will find Undershock. They're relocating in for good measure. Not even really necessary, but Miracle, just because he's Miracle, is going to end up finding the kill there. In the meantime, they're able to extract themselves entirely from the top lane. However, of course, the Wisp going to have to go back. Kuroki, he brings Miracle with him into a 2-man stomp, and the OD, he's going to be in a world of hurt. The Radiant had vision here on the high ground. That's got to be a blunder from Earl on the IO. He's going to bring in a very valuable target in his OD here, and that's going to be a 1,700 gold swing and 1,900 experience just from those 2 cleanup kills.
There's no way that that's intentional from Liquid. Said they had full vision, so there was absolutely no surprise there. They saw that the Oracle was charging up his spells. They had the Centaur Warrunner there, who's, you know, pretty much the perfect punish hero. Giant AoE damage up against 2 clustered heroes on the relocate back. I'm just going to chalk that one up to Kuroki making a little bit of mistake with the tether there, but either way, it is going to be Friends catching a really, really high value break, yet still, net worth-wise, the Faceless Void is on the top. Vlad's now Yasha as well, starting to get some pretty serious itemization up. The OD's not too far behind with his Hurricane Pike being built, but Friends have this Blink Dagger that Afterlife really wants to use. Gonna jump in for Miracle. Relocate out's not available. They'll try to overcharge for a little bit of extra HP, but it's nowhere near enough to save the OD, and now Kuroki's in a little bit of trouble as well as Bulba. They Burrow Strike in, but it's a little bit too late to save the IO. TP coming in from the Faceless Void. Mind controls once again. Sandstorm gonna save him for a little bit of time, but the Guardian Angel is active, and now Oracle burning down the Sand King is gonna be just fine. With Man and Bulba don't have nearly enough damage to kill off any of these heroes. This is a little bit closer to what I expect fights to look like in favor of Friends. They'll finally take down this tier 1 tower, as Liquid just failed to come in all at the same time, but at the same time they also don't have Chronosphere, so we're not at their full strength, even if they did have everyone there.
Unfortunate not to have the relocate save there as well. Undershock able to just farm away on the bottom lane on this sniper, and you already had touched upon how he had a rough start, so nice for him to be able to pick up the Dragon Lance, 1300 gold. In addition, that's still in recovery mode for the sniper, but feeling a little bit more comfortable perhaps than he did a moment ago. Roshan going to be spawning relatively soon, if it's a minimum spawn as well, and look for both teams who fight very well around the pit to be looking for that as a major point of contest.
There will be Chronosphere available for that fight. There will be IO relocate as well, so we can maybe see some of this IO split push that we haven't quite seen yet from the Liquid side. OD is not exactly a split pusher, but any hero with the ability to relocate in level 2 overcharge when that happens will mean that the pressure is going to be on the Friends side to make a play. They want to be going in towards Roche as well, so they will be losing probably at least a tier 2 tower if they actually make that happen. But for right now, Liquid hook up with 3. Relocate, of course, means that essentially everyone's here. But unfortunately, no one on Friends is here. In fact, they're all kind of camping out in the mid lane, expecting smoke.
Radiant's bottom tower is
They've
under
drawn in
attack.
the Radiant jungle as well, perhaps thinking that some of them are farming there, but they are going to look to at least clear out their jungle for the time being. A couple of sentries and a ward on Always Wanna Fly, smoking up. They know that Miracle's not here all by his lonesome, so at least a wisp. Assassinate is coming up and will connect onto Miracle. And now jump forward, Stomp will find him, and they'll burst him down before any reaction is queued up by Kuroki, who relocates by himself. And there is some recognition of that by Friends. They find the spot. They'll get themselves a wisp as well. They'll even posture up near the creep wave, so he's got nothing to tether to. Trying the EGM move, but going to cost him a cooldown on his teleport. And Liquid a little bit sloppy recently in the last couple of micro skirmishes here. They do have the Chronosphere up though, and they are still fairly strong as a unit, so I still wouldn't be too surprised to look to them to make a break towards the Roche pit on Miracle's respawn.
They're really lacking that frontline Chronosphere or really disruptive frontline King that they really do need when you're working with an OD, because past couple of engagements he's just been squashed first thing and no response whatsoever from anyone on Liquid. Yoku is going to find a courier, but the courier is not going to die though. It should probably start moving out of there. They'll stun up Yoku a couple times. Chronosphere going to catch 2 on the back end, but it's just Matoman by himself. He can't do enough damage to any of these targets to get the kills. Now Stomp onto Miracle, purifies there as well. Immediately Miracle down to half HP with the Assassinate coming in. He will disrupt himself and will buy himself a little bit of time, but he's actually going to get out of here. He doesn't have the force attack just yet. The IO's coming in with a little bit of extra juice. Miracle will survive. Keep the courier alive. They keep everyone alive, in fact, for Liquid, but they expend their Chronosphere, and now Friends can just keep on pushing in, so they don't really need their ultimates to fight. Their ultimates just naturally have low cooldown anyway.
Yeah, they may just look at the Roche pit here, as Yoku is a little bit low on both health and mana, but they are going to stampede, looking towards the mid lane to try and find Bulba. Undershock, looks like they'll find him, and he should be able... He should go down here, but they relocate in. Miracle gonna come through with Kuroki. Undershock in a lot of trouble. There goes all their damage. Bulba's still surviving. No mana left on Afterlife. A couple more right clicks. Double kill going the way of Miracle. And now even Always Wanna Fly has joined the fray. Matumaman gets down there in the nick of time as well. This false promise will definitely kill off the Oracle. And tons of Soul Intelligence on Miracle. 96 to be exact will give them enough to go into Roche with this. Huge decisive play from Liquid to relocate on top of their Ogre Magic, knowing he's tanky, knowing there's not enough damage from the Centaur, and that most of it's going to come from the physical of the Sniper. They're able to get in on that underfarm Sniper, bring him down, as well as Afterlife Centaur, and they'll even get an Aegis for their trouble.
And they'll also complete up this crucial Hurricane Pike for Miracle. Like, he just needs that disengage tool. He had not yet completed the Force Staff beforehand, I believe, but now he has the entire thing, so all good for Miracle there. Overcharge also showing off how ridiculous it is with OD. Not exactly a common combo that we see back when IO was, first pick, always material, was never really with the OD, but you steal so much intelligence so quickly, and damage adds up as well. So OD and IO, as long as they can get into those spots where they're able to right-click freely without having to worry about hiding around an Ursa or being instigated by like a Centaur initiation with the Purification, they'll be able to do very similar things in the future fights. But again, it's very difficult for Liquid to actually make those positional fights happen. They're not the ones to get the initiation off, and for the most part, these fights have been Friends catching Liquid heroes off guard, and not the other way around. But since these items are coming up, Hurricane Pike, now Blink Dagger on the OD. We saw a very impressive OD game earlier with just those two items, really setting up every single kill every which way, plus the Blink Dagger on the Sand King, and of course the Faceless Void with that Chronosphere. Liquid have a chance to make a really decisive fight happen with this.
Chronosphere at the ready. As you mentioned, the mobility tool now in the arsenal of Miracle, and we saw Thug earlier today do some work top lane. They're going to go directly in for the center. The Stomp is not going to connect onto the Tumba. They bring in the Epicenter, and they will be able to get Undershock before he gets repelled up. GA is going to go out. They're going to one Afterlife. He's in lockdown. The False Promise will have to come out there. It's going to leave No Fear all by his lonesome. Miracle still chasing forward to try and bring down Afterlife with pop from the False Promise. It won't even be close, apparently. They will get the Oracle, Always Want to Fly. Going to be dropped that Blink Dagger, helping Miracle to get those 2 kills on the back, and he still has an Aegis in hand. Beautiful Epicenter to come up there, nicely positioned by Mind Control, and a dodge on the Stomp from Matumba Man with that max movement speed inside the Chronosphere. Nice decisive movement from Liquid. They'll take a convincing team win, and they will be able to get a tier 2 off the back of it.
Making that decision to begin with of, hey, it's a Sniper, let's Chronosphere him, is a tough call to make considering how far behind the Sniper is. And normally it's perfectly reasonable. You find a Sniper, you kill the Sniper, but you usually want to be a little more cautious when dealing with the farmed Ursa on the other end. But Liquid making that play, committing pretty much all of their spells, expecting Friends to be around the corner, but they have a Chronosphere. They actually are the ones for the first time in however long to make initiation happen on their own terms, and it works out pretty darn well. Always Want to Fly, walking into a very dangerous area. He has False Promise, but yeah, good luck getting that off when he dies in like 2 hits. So another free kill there for Liquid, still with the Aegis in tow, and we're seeing how much damage Miracle is actually able to put out. No Ursa involvement though in these past couple of engagements. He has a fresh 10-second BKB. He is the one that is supposed to be killing off Miracle, but he just has been off doing his own thing.
So mid lane, they'll be able to eliminate this tier 2, and there'll only be one outer tier tower left on the board for Friends. It feels like all of the momentum that they gained in the early game has gone by the wayside. And just to add worse to where, there's a Diffusal Blade completed up for Matumba Man on top of his Manta style now, so Repel not going to be all that effective, and none of these cores, or at least the Sniper, is nowhere near BKB. Yoku has been able to pick one up.
Oh, he missed the Bro Strike.
Perhaps they lack some damage. BKB going to be popped up by Yoku. He's going to turn, look for the IO. Nice Force Staff from Miracle to come out to get him away, but Yoku will be able to chase him down. The Blink Dagger, as he was not damaged. Mind Control, though, on the back end of the BKB, will be able to jump forward. Repel is there in time for Yoku, and he's walking over to this engagement. Does not have his Diffusal Blade on his person just yet. So still a very scary one. Jump forward, though. He'll find a 3-man chrono, but GA is there in time. Undershock, they will be able to get a lot of stolen intelligence. Big Sanity's Eclipse comes out. Curl has bought back for this fight. Is effectively kiting around Yoku right now. They try and bring him down with Always Want to Fly, but Miracle just has so much stolen intelligence that he's able to just right-click everyone to their death. Always Want to Fly, Undershock trying to TP out. They won't be able to get the Imprison off, as perhaps it was hard to tell who was TPing there. So they will be able to make it out with the Sniper, but it's a godlike streak and triple kill for Miracle. Beautiful Chronosphere from Matumba Man coming out. He gets the charge off onto their main target in the Sniper to remove the GA, and this is 4 heroes dead, 2 of which have buyback. Now jump forward, looking for more. They get the Imprison out. Undershock in a little bit of trouble. He will be brought down. Does not have a buyback on the Sniper. 3-man Stomp, though. They will be able to get Matumba and Bulba maybe underneath, but a nice imprison coming out. Hurricane Pike is there as well to push Yoko away
Jesus.
and bring him down. The link forward from
Oh
Miracle,
my
get
God.
another kill, triple kill twice in the last couple of minutes. And
No
Fear,
orbs?
he's in trouble too.
Dire's
Almost
middle
gets the
tower
kill
is
without
under attack.
Arcane Orb, but maybe they need to turn towards these objectives at this point. It's only an Oracle
Oh,
and
Courier.
Omni. Bring the Courier as bait out, trying to save their racks desperately. Blink forward though, always want to fly. He's forced into the Fate's Edict. Should expire just as
Dire's
imprisonment
bottom
does, and
tower is
he'll
under
be brought
attack.
down as well. No fear, he's going to be the first to throw in the towel as Liquid take a 2-0 victory. Very decisive one at that over Friends here, with some very nice drafting from Curl and perhaps even better play from the team all around.
I want to see some OS frogs in the chat because OD stole like 150 intelligence.
Mhm.
He had a Moonshard picked up. Someone